I yield to my ranking member, Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Senator Cassidy, Chairman. And Mr. Kennedy, thanks for being with us. I'm going to discuss later the issue of vaccines, which Senator Cassidy raised, and is of concern, I think, to all of us. But before I go there, I wanted to congratulate you, in a sense, for the phrase, "Make America Healthy Again." I think that is a cry that all of us, a goal that all of us share, because as you've indicated, we're a very unhealthy society. We are the richest country in the history of the world, and yet we rank far below every other major country in terms of our life expectancy. That's outrageous. To me, equally outrageous is if you're working class in this country, you're going to live 6 or 7 years shorter lives than if you are rich. In America today, 68,000 people die every year because they can't get to a doctor. They can't afford to get to a doctor. You pointed out yesterday the outrageous cost of healthcare in America, 2 or 3 times more than other industrialized countries are paying. Unbelievably, in this country, hundreds of thousands of people who deal with cancer, struggling for their lives. You know what happens to them? They go bankrupt. They deplete their lives' savings. In other words, when we talk about making America healthy, you got to talk about a broken, corrupt healthcare system. Your uncle, President Kennedy, your father, Bobby Kennedy, great senator from New York, your uncle sat right now where Senator Cassidy is sitting, chairman of this committee. All of them did what I think is the right thing. They said healthcare is a human right. They looked all over the world. They saw every other major country guaranteeing healthcare to all people, whether they're rich or poor, young or old. So I'm not quite sure how we can move to making America healthy again unless we have the guts to take on the insurance companies and the drug companies and guarantee healthcare to all people. I'll be asking you a question about that. Lowering the cost of prescription drugs. How do you make America healthy again if 1 out of 4 people in this country cannot afford the price of prescription drugs, which is far higher in America than any other country on earth? Under President Biden, we made some progress, and this committee played an active role in having Medicare begin for the first time negotiating the price of drugs that we are paying. And I'm going to ask you whether or not you will demand that President Trump follow what we accomplished here. We are the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. Mr. Kennedy, there are women today who are having babies, then they got to go back to work in a week or 2 because they have no guaranteed paid family and medical leave. How do you have a healthy country when women are forced to go back to work, when women and men get fired because they stay home taking care of their sick kids? That's not making America healthy again. And I would go a little bit beyond the jurisdiction of Health and Human Services, but I think it's important. If you are working 50 or 60 hours a week, making 13, 14 bucks an hour, which is what millions of Americans are, can you be healthy? Will you join those of us who think that in the United States, wealthiest country on earth, people work 40 hours a week, they should not live in poverty, we've got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage? And lastly, and we discussed this very briefly, President Trump believes that climate change is a hoax. I happen to believe, and most Americans believe, and virtually the entire scientific community believes, that it is an existential threat to this planet. I don't know how you're going to make America healthy again, or keep the world healthy, when you have massive heat waves and droughts and floods and extreme weather disturbances. Louisiana had them, Vermont had them. That's not keeping America healthy. That's not within the jurisdiction of HHS. But I surely hope that you will, if you are confirmed, demand that President Trump change his position and work with those of us who are trying to transform our energy system and, in fact, keep America healthy by addressing the crisis of climate change. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.